optimal access. Now, when I first saw this, I said, look, I got a problem all the time. I got way too much information. I don't know where it is. I don't know how to find it. So how and do I organize all the material that I have? And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And of course, if you listen to the end of the program, also have a complimentary access program for you and something to help out. So listen up. And what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about my special guest today from Optimal Access. How are you doing today? And tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into this space in the first place?
Thank you, Mick, and thank you for inviting me, and hello to your listeners. I have a master's degree in computer engineering. That's how I got started. I first got started as a programmer for Phoenix Technologies. After a few years, I decided I wanted to get on the business end of things. I
Okay.
moved to Los Angeles. I started working for a company called XCal as a project manager. There was an opening for a sales position. I applied for it, and they said, since you don't have any background, we'll hire you on commission. If you can sell, we'll hire you. So it took me about 9 months to make my first sale, but within 2 years, I was the head of sales. I grew that company from 3 million to 8 million in about 3 years. I was then hired as a VP of sales for a startup company,
Hmm.
another testing company, where I grew them again from startup to 5 million. And then I decided I wanted to do my own thing. It was the dot-com era. And I had met this engineer who had developed an application as an IT person that made it easy for people to curate access to information,
I see.
recognizing that people generally have a hard time. Information is distributed everywhere, and access to it is what's key. And this really resonated with me. I was studying philosophy and humanities in Los Angeles, and my teacher, every Saturday, he presented his education and knowledge curated from about 40,000 books he had in his library. And
Interesting.
one time I asked him, I said, Roger, have you read all of these books? And he said, I can index all of them. And I really saw the need to be able to curate what you find interesting and to be able to quickly present it. So this is how I got started in the whole curation business.
Things have gone back quite a long time now. You with the dot-com burst and everything like that too. So could you address some of the biggest changes that you've seen in this experience? And then also to bring it up to date, we'll talk a little bit about that. So what have you seen as the changes in this curation space?
So I see three main changes that has affected curation.
Hmm.
Back then, a lot of information was stored on computers, computer networks, and today everything is in the cloud. Before you had applications like Pocket where people would store information offline so that they could read it. And today, you always have access to information. Even if you're traveling in a plane or a train,
Hmm.
you're always online and you can quickly access information. The second, I would say, is mobile computing. The
Okay.
fact that 50% of all content is consumed on mobile, and 50% of people access social media on mobile. And the
Mm,
third one, I would say, are social media platforms.
okay.
Today, you have to consider social media as a distribution platform and also as a collection platform.
Sure. Sure. Now that we want to bring things up to date a little bit because there are so many things that are happening. It's, with technology, it's constantly moving. But even now, there are a lot of things that are probably in this space, maybe like artificial intelligence and what have you. What would you say are some of the hot growth areas that you would say in the curation space?
I would say artificial intelligence and chat GPT have a role in curation. We are
Okay.
actually using a few of them.
Hmm.
You can use, for example, chat GPT to create summaries of the content that you're curating. Our tool allows you to scrape information, but the description is usually what allows the user to editorialize the content, and ChatGPT is a great tool for that. The other one is to integrate copywriting so that you can quickly enhance your writing using AI. And the third one is something we have also integrated, is the integration of natural language understanding and conversational chatbots with your curated content. I see a huge need for that inside of corporations where people can use a interface, a conversational interface to access the curated content.
That's fascinating. And so you would say then that your product will integrate with AI and that talks to each other, so to speak. So there's an interaction
Right.
process
So we,
going on.
we already have a webhook we developed for Dialogflow, which is Google's conversational chatbot,
Mm,
where you can retrieve information using Dialogflow from the curated content. And curation allows the user to add categorization and taxonomy so that the information that you're retrieving is way more accurate than allowing AI to do its job. So the combination of artificial intelligence and human curated content, I feel, is going to deliver the best response for search and retrieval of information.
Could you unpack that a little bit? Because it's a fascinating point, really, because people are saying that AI is going to replace humans, and that's really not what you're saying. So, could you maybe address the issue of how is it that people, humans, are interacting with artificial intelligence? And are we going to be replaced? Do we work with them? Are they going to replace us? How do you feel about those issues?
AI will never replace humans because humans are capable of semantic and AI is just capable of syntax, right? So AI is going to analyze the text that
Mm,
you have and try to make sense of it. Whereas humans, when you categorize and curate content, the taxonomy that you add in the context of your project and your vision is going to be specific to your needs. So that is what really is going to set humans apart from the machine. I remember a couple of articles,
mhm,
both in Google, that Google had human curated content in order to complement their search. And if you remember with Facebook, they had a lot of problems with algorithms when they were trying to sift through news and trying to figure
sure.
out what was true and what was not true. So
Mhm.
humans will always have a role, and machines can get very good at aggregating content, but the last mile, I would say, is still something that humans will always have advantage over the machine.
Got it. It's an interesting perspective because this is one of those things that's a hot topic currently. So, if you were thinking about, and maybe for based on your clients and the people that you work with, what would you generally recommend business owners to be thinking about now? And what would you recommend at the state that we're in currently?
I want to point to two studies. One study I saw recently, it said that people on average access 40 different websites and switch between them every 3 minutes. And
Mm,
there's another study by McKinsey that tells us that people waste 2 hours every day looking for information because of
believe it.
poorly curated content or because of unskilled search. Not everybody knows everything about the topic.
Hmm.
So the ability to curate and transfer knowledge is should be a key process for any business in order to work more effectively and productively. And that's what our tools help people do. You have to train people to curate and organize content as they work on the back end of it when they see the advantages of that activity, I think that that's going to accelerate the adoption of these types of tools.
Absolutely, because after teaching for a long time, I realized that with students, you have to try to get them to understand how to organize information. They can just go on Google, but they don't actually know what they're looking for, nor do they have to, are they able to discern what is and what is not real, genuine knowledge. So that's an important point to make, I believe. When you are working with clients and you have potential clients that you are thinking of, what type of expertise do you offer and what can you suggest that they start to look at? And how do you help a company if a person is interested in what you're doing in curation?
My expertise is, what one is in personal knowledge management or group knowledge management, and the other one is in helping people with their marketing. Today,
Hmm,
content marketing is a 60-40 mix between curated content and
hmm, hmm,
original content. Original content is very expensive to produce, and there's a lot of businesses who live on information. If you're some kind of a service business that does, you know, taxes or law or any kind of business, a lot of times people are looking to you as a filter, as
hmm,
the place to get the right information about the business. And here, curation can really be a helpful tool. So we can definitely help people with their marketing. We have clients that are advisory groups that use our tools
hmm,
to build applications to deliver curated content. So basically, what we are doing is we are empowering people to become editors of content, to pick what's
right.
interesting and to add their own value to their own insights into why people should be reading something,
Hmm.
and then create knowledge bases where it's not something that just goes into the cyberspace, but it
Right.
becomes a location where people can come and retrieve information and history of events.
Could you give some examples of some of the clients that you work with? Because I see all kinds of applications to this, but I think it might be helpful to know some of the people that you're actually working with and the kinds of people that have been able to benefit from your tools.
I can give you a few examples. One is like a cybersecurity
Mm,
club at
right.
Syracuse University, where students actually curate and manage a content hub. Another one is a company, Multiverse. They are an advisory group. They advise their clients on the kinds of laws and information that they need to be aware of, and they are using
Hmm,
our tools in order to create an app for the clients. I mean, one client is, for example, Infosys, which is a huge company
sure.
in India. Um, Another company is an education company. I have a client that's an attorney, and she uses
Oh,
my tool for onboarding. So she basically curates all of the information, and everybody has a copy of the tool so that everybody can very quickly find information that they need and they're looking for. The ability to organize
yeah.
information in an information age, I think, can be a key solution for many, many businesses.
Yeah, there's no question because this is one of the things that struck me about how powerful the tool is. Because what I always say is, in times past, we had a lack of information, and there's no question today we have a glut of information. We're overwhelmed by it. The key really is in the curation of it and being able to organize all that material effectively. And that's exactly what you're able to do. So, with all this, the changes that we've seen, where we are currently today, and what you're able to offer businesses and individuals, how do people get a hold of you and what would you suggest that they do? Because I've seen the demo. I think it's phenomenal. How do they get a hold of you?
Our website is optimalaccess.com, and the name was chosen consciously to create optimal access, which is an iterative process. They can also email me. It's Karan at optimalaccess.com. But our website has links to the products, demo videos that they can watch, and the products are free to try. So anybody is welcome to give it a try and contact me. I can also be reached on LinkedIn, always available to answer any questions or provide demos of our solutions to anybody who's interested.
And I'd highly recommend you following up on it because I've seen it. I'm blown away by it. That's why I wanted to get Karan on the show today. So thank you for taking out some time in your busy schedule. I appreciate it. And I highly encourage everybody to get a hold of you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for your time, Mick, and thank you for everyone for listening.
You bet. Until next time, we want to make sure you have some things to follow up on. Now, if you've finished to the end here and you've heard what you've done, you can get a complimentary website analysis. Just get a hold of me at Mick, as in Jagger, except he makes more money. Mick.Smith at WSI. We simplify the internet. Mick.Smith at WSIworld.com, complimentary website analysis, and I can help you with whatever else that you're doing. Until next time, make sure that you get a hold of me. You can also pick up copy of Burning America in the Best Interest of the Children. Until next time, I'm the Doctor of Digital Podcast signing out. Deus Volt.